Yes, good afternoon. Welcome to another daily dose of Satoshi's news. Today's date is Sunday, the 8th of October, 2023, the year of BSV. Buy BSV.live, the best place to buy Bitcoin SV online, the original protocol and genuine Bitcoin. Let's get into a bit of news today then. So we are still referring to this because it's a fascinating debate, but there has to be a way to prove that Hal Finney is not Satoshi, and we've already gone over one of them. I actually suspect that he was a CIA operative because when the CIA didn't understand what Bitcoin was, all they knew is that they, in order to give themselves time to figure out how to corrupt it, they would have to restrict it. And the way you restrict Bitcoin is by putting a limit in place. And it was Hal that persuaded Craig, as in Satoshi Nakamoto, to put the 1 megabyte block cap in place. So this is what we're looking for today, a bit of evidence. And this is the first one. So Fully Crypto wrote an article 1 year ago saying, why is Bitcoin's 1 megabyte, why is Bitcoin's block size 1 megabyte question mark? Too long didn't read points here. Bitcoin block size is just 1 megabyte, which has caused congestion on the network since January 2017. The block size issue has caused a civil war that dates back to 2011. Why does Bitcoin have a 1 megabyte block size and why is it still there? So it's quite a long article. We're not going to go through all of it because I want to get through some other bits and pieces. But it does make some very interesting points. So we'll just go through this first bit. Anyone who has tried to transact on the Bitcoin network in recent years knows two things. It's slow and expensive. It wasn't always this way, of course. Back in its infancy, when Bitcoin's blocks were largely empty, transactions were processed quicker and for a fraction of the cost of today. This is due to the network now being full, which started to happen in early 2017. But this is a feature, not a bug. Whatever. I think it was Max Kaiser that said that when he was trying to justify it. The 1 megabyte block size limit imposed on the blockchain means that transaction queues are ever present and transactors are left paying high fees to get their payments through. But why does Bitcoin have a 1 megabyte block size and why is it still there? Let's find out. 1 megabyte block cap was an afterthought. So Bitcoin's block size wasn't, as many people think, baked into the protocol from the start. It was in fact something of an afterthought. One of Satoshi Nakamoto's initial code reviewers, Hal Finney, realized almost at the last minute that sending Bitcoin out into a world without a block size limit could be detrimental in two ways. First, it could open the network up to spamming and DOS attacks. Well, not really, because miners process a transaction, so spam it as much as you want. Really, it doesn't really matter. Same with DDoS attacks. It's purposely designed to actually prevent that and make DDoS attacks expensive, so people don't do it. And second, the blockchain might become so large so quickly that node operators would struggle to find disk space to download it. Not really, because it costs to do that sort of thing. Ray Dillinger, who, along with Hal Finney, went over Satoshi's first cut of the Bitcoin code, revealed in 2015 how the block size limit came about, saying that Hal Finney suggested the 1 megabyte block cap to prevent such issues. And there's an interesting quote here. I'm presuming it's from Dillinger. So he said Satoshi didn't have a 1 megabyte limit Satoshi didn't have a 1 megabyte limit in it. The limit was originally Hal Finney's idea. Both Satoshi and I objected that it wouldn't scale at 1 megabyte. Hal was concerned about a potential DOS attack though, and after discussion Satoshi agreed. The 1 megabyte limit was there by the time Bitcoin launched. But all three of us agreed that 1 megabyte had to be temporary because it would never scale. Listen to that, it had to be temporary because the whole point is the foundational layer. Anything built on top is a centralized network. The only commoditized network is literally the base layer, so it has to scale. Dillinger added that several attempted abuses of the blockchain under 1 megabyte limit proved Finney right about needing the 1 megabyte block limit at launch time. Well, it wasn't, because it was implemented actually on the 15th of July 2010, which we'll look at shortly. But then went on to say that the limitation could be lifted. Blockchain bloats as such is no longer likely to be a problem, and the 1 megabyte limit is no longer necessary. It has been more or less replaced by a profitability limit that motivates people to not waste blockchain bandwidth, and miners are now reliably dropping transactions that don't pay fees. However, Dillinger's recollection doesn't match with the facts. The 1 megabyte limit was actually quietly introduced by Satoshi Nakamoto on July 15th, 2010. There we go. A year and a half after the launch of the Bitcoin Core software, and he never gave a reason for it. Dillinger may have meant that the idea of a 1 megabyte block was there by launch date in 2009, but it certainly wasn't in place. Yeah, so I've actually done some research on this. So it was Hal Finney's idea. He was the one that has persuaded Satoshi Nakamoto to put the 1 megabyte block cap in place. So if he was Satoshi, are they saying, is Dillinger saying that he was trying to persuade himself? If he was Satoshi, he would have just done it, and he would have created it with it, not put it in as an afterthought. It's crazy when you actually know the facts. And here was another article by Bitcoin Magazine that said, what is the Bitcoin block size limit? So here we go. Let's have a look at this. The Bitcoin block size limit is a parameter in the Bitcoin protocol that limits the size of Bitcoin blocks and therefore the number of transactions that can be confirmed on the network approximately every 10 minutes. Although Bitcoin launched without this parameter, there we go again, they're even admitting it was launched without this parameter, Satoshi Nakamoto added a 1 megabyte block size limit back when he was still the lead developer of the project. So if Hal was the lead developer of the project, he would have simply done it. It's that simple. This translated into about 3 to 7 transactions per second, depending on the size of the transaction. Further reading, who created Bitcoin? Yeah, blah 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 blah. It's all a load of rubbish really from there on. But this is the moment. Check this out. So this was a commit to the GitHub protocol on 15th of July 2010, and you can actually see this right here. Look at that. Look at that. There we go. Max block size, and then that is a number of, I think it's 10 million. So that would be 1,000, 10,000, 100,000. Yeah, about that. So anyway, I presume that represents one megabyte in terms of bytes, I guess. Also, this is an interesting one. So it says here, Coinbase maturity 100. So that's 100 blocks. So we'll have to find out if that's still correct. I mean, I presume it would be, but I get there might be a difference between maturity and spendable. I think Craig said they're spendable after 120 blocks. So what the definition of maturity means after 100, whether or not they're confirmed as the winning miners. Belonging to them, who knows? But really interesting statistics here, doing a little bit of Bitcoin history. Moving on then. So this one's from Diego at Electronic Cash. This is a great win here. So he said, WNK's insistence that these details be disclosed appears to be motivated by frustration and a desire to annoy and embarrass Dr. Wright, not by any legitimate concern for the public interest. For these reasons, WNK's objections to the proposed redactions are overruled. And that was by Judge Bruce Reinhardt. And this was the article. And the full statement was here. So he's put here, breaking another victory for Craig Wright in the US District Court, Southern District of Florida, Kleinman versus Wright. Bruce Reinhardt, US Magistrate Judge. WNK order denying plaintiff's motion to remove redactions. Dr. Wright has met his burden of showing that good cause exists to redact this limited set of information. This information was not germane to the issue before the court, which was whether Dr. Wright had properly disclosed the information required by Form 1.977. WMK never disputed that Dr. Wright had approved multiple years of credit card statements, so Dr. Wright would have prevailed at the hearing even without introducing these statements. More broadly, this information discloses granular details of Dr. Wright's family's life that are wholly irrelevant to the collection of WMK's judgment. WMK's insistence that these details be disclosed appear to be motivated by frustration and a desire to annoy and embarrass Dr. Wright, not by any legitimate concerns for the public interest. For all these reasons, WMK's objections to the proposed redactions are overruled. This ruling is without prejudice to a motion by a third party or a member of the media to lift redactions. Any such motion will be irrelevant. Done and ordered in chambers at West Palm Beach County in the Southern District of Florida, this 6th day of October 2023. And here is the actual statement itself. Here we go. For all these reasons, WMK's objections to the proposed redactions are overruled. Done and ordered. Yes, indeed. Brilliant. And so just going back to the block size limit quickly, I've just written this article here called Bitcoin, the protocol built into Bitcoin. And I've started it here saying the Bitcoin protocol is built into Bitcoin but hidden in the white paper. This article aims to extract the protocol that is subtly outlined in the white paper. The Bitcoin protocol consists of 5 elements that are essential for Bitcoin to be classified as a commodity and maintain economic value in order for it to be used as a medium of exchange to economically sustain its network. Those elements are 1. Economic competition, 2. Common accountability, 3. A locked protocol, 4. Unbounded scale capacity, and 5. A fixed asset supply. So just with relation to how Finney putting the 1 megabyte block cap in place, all these elements are outlined here. But element, economic competition, hidden location in the Bitcoin white paper in the abstract, and the sentence is nodes can leave and rejoin the network at will. And then I've put an explanation underneath. So in terms of explanations, I've put, in order for a network to be a commodity network and not have any central point of authority or control, it must be economically competitive. The various operations sustaining the network must be completely independent of one another and therefore able to leave and rejoin the network at will. Only an economically competitive network enables this. Then we've got common accountability, hidden location in the Bitcoin white paper. Under section 2, transactions sentence, we define an electronic coin as a chain of digital signatures. And the explanation there. A locked protocol, again, hidden location in the white paper, sentence, and then an explanation. And unbounded scale, this is where it comes in. So element, unbounded scale, hidden location in the Bitcoin white paper, under section 6, incentives. And the sentence that describes it says, the incentive can transition entirely to transaction fees and be completely inflation-free. Explanation. This statement indirectly says that there cannot be a block size cap / scale restriction due to Bitcoin's distribution model. Over time, the transaction fees incentivize the miners / payment processors to compete for the block fee rather than the block reward. If the block size is restricted, it means the block fee would also be restricted. This would remove the ability of payment processors to economically compete with one another for a large enough block fee to cover their operational running costs, as the block reward continues to diminish until it reaches 0. Limitations and restrictions anywhere in the system mean the network is susceptible to being manipulated and centrally controlled. An uncapped block size is therefore essential for the network to have unbounded scale / user capacity and maintain economic commodity value. There we go. So it's quite simple. A network cannot have any limitations or restrictions because otherwise it can be manipulated, as we've seen with BTC, and replaced by feed, child pays for parent, all this utter rubbish. Actually, we may as well just cover common accountability because SegWit destroyed this in one foul swoop. So element of common accountability, hidden location in the white paper, section 2, transactions. And it's in the sentence, we define an electronic coin as a chain of digital signatures. Explanation, in order for a network to be a commodity network users must be equally accountable to one another rather than a central authority. Accountability is transferred to the users of the network rather than those who maintain the network by a digital signature being attached to each data upload, developing a chain of digital signatures. And again, that's what SegWit destroyed. So it destroyed all economic commodity value and contractual credibility. So the users are no longer accountable to one another because the signatures aren't with any data uploads. It's quite shocking when you really understand what they've done and what's at stake. And remember, it is all coming to a head On the 15th of January 2024, in the largest court case in financial history, with the cabal masquerading as COPA, calling themselves the Crypto Open Patent Alliance, versus Craig Wright, the creator and inventor of Bitcoin. So remember, 15th of January 2024, stay tuned and we'll bring you more. And until then, be aware, take care, stay safe out there, and we'll see you in the next one.